This is a really interesting take on the character Grendel. I like it a lot. Oh, hey, what's up, writer? Stop going on that Twitter and actually pick up a pen and make some character. My name is Chris Manico, and it's story time. What's up, writer? My name is Chris Manico, and on this episode of Storytime, episode 2, we're going to show you how to make some character. Now, we all know what character development is and whatnot, but you have to understand there's a lot of things that go into character. So instead of me just explaining all of it right now, sitting down, not moving at all, let's hit the drawing board and show you how it's done. Alright, writers, let's look at some characters, shall we? So, the first question we want to ask ourselves is, what makes a good character? Well, to me at least, there are 4 things that make good character. The personality, which consists of what the character's attitude is like. The backstory, which pretty much describes what happened to the character in the past, where he or she come from, where does he or she live now, what are they like. Also, that goes into personality and what made them like that. The abilities, what does the character bring to the table? Like, what can they do in the midst of their quest or in the midst of the trials that they go through. And the physical look, pretty much this answers what makes the character, what does he look like, he or she look like, and is that look interesting for that certain character? Because some people like the big buff, Space Marine using Warhammer 40k references here, or they might like the slim fit Drell type of look, which we will describe in Mass Effect. And some tools to help you out with this is for making your own characters and whatnot, and character development, making the archetype. So archetype is using things like the stereotypical hero and making that more interesting. The rogue, which pretty much is the I'll do what I want character. The jester, the funny guy, the comedic character, the comic relief stuff. The love interest, who's basically, oh, I love you, or yeah, I like you, bam. Shoots whatever down, she's awesome, whatnot. Pretty much she'll do anything that the rest of the characters do. And the old mentor, who pretty much it kind of speaks for itself. And the tools to train with this is an actual RPG game. So RPGs like World of Warcraft, StarCraft even, possibly even, Dungeons and Dragons. Actually, yes, Dungeons and Dragons is very good for that. So pretty much what they do is that you make your own character, create the character's story, pretty much you're creating the backstory of the character, choose the character's abilities, customize what he or she looks like, and basically, you create your own character, you design what they're like. Pick their race or species or whatnot, and you pretty much go from there. So basically, this all goes into a factor of character development. So what is character development, you might ask? Well, the actual dictionary definition is the portrayal of people in a work of fiction in a way that the reader, aka us, learns more about the character and watches them develop. So pretty much this again answers how the character starts, what is he or she like at the end, which pretty much makes the arc of your story, and what is the character like overall, what is the overall personality, what does the character have to offer, like what abilities does it bring, and what is their story before its story, what is their backstory. And also, what does the character look like? Because you can different variations of that, like Captain America in the movie. He starts out as this, skinny-looking dude, but then after, getting some injections in his body, he becomes this big, buff, muscular super soldier that we all know as Captain America. Now, the next thing we're going to show you are 2 examples. Both of them are from video games. One is a very good video game, the other not so much. So we're going to be looking at both good character and bad character. Alright guys, now time for our first example. From Mass Effect 2, I'd like to introduce you to a little person, or a fairly good assassin, named Thane Krios. Now his backstory basically consists of that his whole race was rescued by the Hanar, who are like these jellyfish type of dudes, who basically said, hey, we see that your race is dying, come with us, we'll rescue you. So they agree, and they get rescued. But the problem is that Drell like arid dry lands, and the Hanar homeworld is very rainy. A little bit of conflict there. So that's a little bit of backstory and overall. But the thing is that the Hanar can't complete regular assignments by themselves. So they have the Drell complete physical assignments that the Hanar can't do. So Thane gets involved with this at the age of 6, where he is trained as an assassin. He makes his first kill at 12 years old and works for the Hanar for a little bit. Then after he meets his wife in the midst of an assassination mission, he actually goes freelancing. Now this kind of brings to his sort of downfall within the backstory, where a bunch of Batarian pirates, I believe, try to pursue Thane, try to kill him off. But it didn't work so well, speaking that it kind of led to his wife's death. So he got mad and killed all those guys. And ever since then, he's been freelancing, and he also has a son, which after he killed the Batarian pirates, he pretty much was like, oh yeah, you're a lot older now, I'm just going to leave you be. So he doesn't really confront his son after he does that. Which I believe is an interesting backstory, and it kind of fits well with the character and makes him unique. Which is what you want in all your characters, make them unique, make them stand out from the story. And also, his personality, which is right down here, he's surprisingly very religious. He's not like the stereotypical assassin or mercenary that says, alright, I'm going to do this, where's my paycheck? Come on, where's my paycheck? No, he actually cares for his people. He actually cares for the people he kills. So he's actually like, I'm sorry, bam, I'll pray for you, go to the afterlife. And he prays for himself so that all of his sins could be forgiven when he goes and dies. By the way, he does say that he will die because he does have Kepral syndrome, which is a disease that affects his lungs, speaking that the lungs can't really develop much liquid because he was born on arid lands. There's that conflict there, which actually makes him more interesting. And also, his abilities are pretty cool, speaking that he's also biotic, which means he can use powers, and that he can pretty much use every single weapon that there is to know. And also his look, he's tall, slim, and you can tell that he's very versatile. So, in my opinion, that's a pretty interesting look. I like the look. I wish I could have that look myself. But anyways, yeah, that's Thane Krios. Now, our bad example is from a video game called Brink. So basically, every character in Brink is the same. This makes them part of the setting. As you can see by the backstory, they're all in a place called the Ark. Whatever this faction you decide to choose, whether it be the Resistance who's trying to escape the Ark, or Ark Security, they're trying to save the Ark. Yeah, save. Basically, they all are fighting, they're all angry at each other. There's no real big, specific backstory behind the individual characters. And the individual characters that are portrayed, basically, they just blurt out random things, and because you don't know their names, you kind of lose the care, which you don't want in your story. You want people to care, not say, oh, this is just random stuff, who are you? That's what you don't want. And also the personality, as I said, everyone's just mad. They're all just like, wow, we want to escape, wow, we want to save. It's war, basically, it's stereotypical. And the look, they all look cartoonish, which if you like cartoonish looks, that's cool. If you don't, then kind of stinks for you then, if you don't like these type of games. But ultimately what I'm trying to say is don't make your character part of the setting. Make them stand out. And as a good person by the name of Andrew Stanton said, who was the creator of stories like WALL-E, Finding Nemo, and Toy Story, all of which are great childhood memories of my own, pretty much what he says, and I will quote this, make me care, please, emotionally, intellectually, aesthetically, just make me care. And that's what all your characters should make the reader. They should make them care, all of those factions. Because if your character is part of the setting, it's just part of the setting, it doesn't stand out. You want your characters to stand out. And if your character stands out, people will love your character, depending on their personality. That's also a big factor. But anyways, I hope you liked this video. I hope you found it informative. Please leave some comments in the description below. Subscribe. Thanks, writers. And you know what? Keep on writing, writers. Keep on writing.